Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Lisa Natoli. Welcome to our Friday morning Course in Miracles group. And I'm very excited today that Bill Free will be teaching, and he's doing one of my very favorite lessons, which is lesson from the workbooks, lesson 91, Miracles Are Seen in Light. And to me, that really does bring us back to the mind training. I am not weak but strong. I am not limited but unlimited. And so I'm very excited, and I see people coming in. Good morning. And I'm just going to take a few moments while people are getting in here and welcome live streamers to take a moment and center ourselves. And so I ask you, wherever you are, to take a deep breath. You can close your eyes or you can keep them open. There's no right or wrong way to do this. And we're bringing ourselves into this present now moment. In this now moment, you have no problems. In the now, where there is only the light that you are free. And here, in this moment, the body is healed. Past is over. And I thank you, Father, that the memory of your love has been restored to us, the one mind that we share, and we are free. We are free from past thinking, from fear. We acknowledge that these were simply defenses that we put in place to keep ourselves isolated as bodies, separate from your peace and your joy and your love. And we acknowledge that in our joining, all minds wake up. And I'm grateful that for every 5 minutes that we spend listening to the truth, 1,000 minds are saved, 1,000 years are collapsed. And so we're not here to learn. We're not here to transform. We're here in joining and in blessing and in gratitude and in love. Amen. So, just so grateful. And I have a couple of announcements. The first is that we have many online programs. There's the 40-day program for transformation. There's the Living in Purpose Mastery program, which in 2019 we have devoted to living in Christ consciousness. We're embodying it now. We're living it. And it's just an incredible way for each and every one of us to just step in and finally be the Christ and not try to reach that place that we think is later. You are the Christ. And this is what it looks like. Whatever's going on for you, this is it. And it's come on up here. I want you to come up here too. My sister, Linda Leland.
Hello, guys. Yeah, so I was just thinking about that on the way in, that Living in Purpose is our mastery program. And Lisa and Bill have beautifully decided to dedicate, like you said, to embodying the Christ, which, you know, when I think about Jesus and what he did and how Jesus said he doesn't have anything that we don't have. He just didn't focus on anything else. He kind of took his eyes away from the world and dedicated himself to knowing the truth of who he is. And the fact that you guys decided that that's what we're doing this year. And we can all do this together. So it's on our website at teachersofgod.org. Yeah. And I just want to say one more thing, if I can. The Transformation Room is our membership site. And it's a monthly membership site. And we only open the doors to let people in for like 4 times a year. So the end of February. So if you're something you're thinking about, you want to know more, just get on the wait list. That doesn't mean you sign up. It just means that we'll keep you informed when the cart opens. And I'll tell them a little bit about the Transformation Room. It is just a monthly membership. You pay as you go. It's super, super affordable. We have monthly coaching topics every month. And based on that coaching topic, we send you 4 little bite-sized deliverables, 1 a week for the whole month. Some of our coaching topics have been the art of surrender or anxiety, or next month is the power of love. We do, and then after that, we're working on abundance. We've done radical self-acceptance, a whole bunch of them, and they all stay in the library. So even the ones you missed are all there waiting for you if you want to come in. So we have monthly coaching topics. We also have, there's 3 really key elements to transformation, and that's practice, intervention, and support. So that's what the transformation room's about. The intervention part, oftentimes when we get triggered, we don't really know what to do or how to get out of it. When our mind starts going down that rabbit hole, spinning out, getting stuck again. So the transformation room has this huge library. It's like a spiritual Netflix, all categorized by whatever you might be going through, so that you can come whenever you're feeling, when your peace has been disturbed and you want to get back to love. This is a great place to do it. Oftentimes we tell each other in there when something's going wrong, we say, go to your room, because it's the transformation room, and just, you can use it. You have this library 24/7, wherever you are, to shift. And then community, we have a huge private Facebook group. It is optional. You do not have to be in there. But if you'd like community, that's there too. So 4 days at the end of February, the enrollment opens, but get on the wait list now. Did you talk about the 40-day or ACI and 365? Okay, awesome. I think that's it for me. Thanks. I didn't mean to come barge over.
So I just wanted to say, like, what you mentioned, that Bill and I don't know how you just expressed it, but that we just came up with this idea to embody Christ consciousness in 2019 as the theme and living in purpose. It came in a moment on a call. So we have these monthly coaching calls that are live every month. And someone in the call was talking about embodying Christ consciousness as her dedication. And what I love about this work, you literally are instructed moment by moment by moment about what the next step is. So, like, I have this upcoming Mexico retreat on healing, which I'm super excited about. I think there's only 2 beds left. It's a very small retreat. It's in a house, and it's probably only going to be 16 of us there. So it's going to be very intensive, and it's not a house. You're right. It's an estate. It's but it's not a big sprawling retreat center is what I want to say, but it's beautiful. And somebody emailed me who's coming, and she asked if a friend can come who just wants to stay in silence the whole week and not participate in the retreat. And I said, just because of the small space, I don't want someone just not part of the retreat to be there. But beyond that, I said that the mind wants to decide now that it's going to spend a week in silence. And what my experience is lately is the silence is right now. The stillness is right now. Any idea that you have that I need to spend a day or a week doing something that's going to be a week or a month from now, that can only be the mind. So when you're really training your mind to be present and you're allowing yourself to truly remove the blocks and the obstacles to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance, you are moving. Like, I had a great story that I want to share that happened yesterday. I was out running errands in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and I had my bag, my purse, and I got out of the car, and I had only walked maybe 10 steps away from the car, and I heard a voice as clear as if somebody was walking beside me, said, check your purse, check your wallet, it's not in your purse. That's what I heard. Check your wallet, it's not in your purse. And I knew I just had it because I just paid the parking ticket to park in this parking lot. So I'm like, well, I'm sure it's in there. But you start to trust in the voice that's speaking to you. I go through my purse, it's not there, and I have a very big, deep purse, so I'm really digging down deep. I'm like, I'm sure it's in a crevice here somewhere. Not there. So I was like, well, it's definitely in the car. I just had it 5 seconds ago. So I walked back to the passenger side of the car. I opened the door. It's not there. I was like, well, where is it? And I walk on the other side of the car, and it's on the parking. It's right on the ground on the parking lot. And I'm like, wow, that is amazing. That voice, it starts to literally instruct you. But what happens on a spiritual path is we just think, it's like the mind just wants to wait for some other moment. And I actually had a thought where I was going. I was going to need my wallet, and I was going to a friend. And I thought, even if my wallet's not in my bag, I know it's in the car, and she knows I'm good for it. So I'll just pay her later. My mind literally did that. But it's like, and then I heard, go to the car now. So it's like you are being protected if you're listening. And that's how you're always in the flow. Where we're not in the flow is when we start listening to that mind that says, oh, that's just a nothing idea. So I just really wanted to share that it's like, this is really moment by moment, just being in the presence of love that you are, and allowing yourself to know that you are being guided and directed. Yes.
Do you feel like there's any difference in tone? How do you distinguish?
He wants to know if I feel that there's any difference in tone, and there's not. Like, to me, I told my friend Max the story on the phone last night, and we were talking about a Facebook post where someone wants to know how to reach peace. And Max is like, why is the mind that asks how is the mind that is determined to not find peace? Because so what he was saying was like, well, Lisa, when you felt that your wallet wasn't in your purse, did I have to think about it? No, I was moving. So it's not that the tone wasn't different, as I guess would be my answer. It's just like you start to really just kind of, when you have to go to the bathroom, is there a tone that's moving your body to the bathroom? Right? You're just moving. You're like, I gotta pee, and I gotta pee now. And it's like you're not checking in and going, well, is that the voice for God, or is that ego? It's just movement. So I would like to, before we're going to introduce Bill Free, we're going to do meet and greet, and I'm also going to invite our awesome Bonnie Kimball up to read the Cafe Gratitude, but we'll do that after the meet and greet. So if anyone can rise, and we're going to join each other in love.
Keep that on.
Keep that on. Okay.
I love you like crazy, Bill.
finally one that I
Had to leave.
So, hey, John.
Freedom keeps saying something, you know.
I'm actually set it up. You have to learn all the little things about it. I love that platform, but it glitches. Well,
Oh, you can still go back and watch it. Yeah. It was amazing. The last talk, her 1200th talk. Yeah. It was pretty cool. She is.
All right.
She might not be doing it anymore, but I'm not sure. Okay, welcome back. So now we are going to move over to Cafe Gratitude, and I've asked Bonnie Kimball to come up here because she's always behind the camera, and today I want her to be in front of the camera. So Bonnie.
Good morning, everybody. So I was reading this, and the bottom one, I was having some resistance to it, and I was thinking I wanted to find something else, but since I'm having resistance, I will read it. So the first part is, abundance can be had simply by consciously receiving what has already been given, which is a Sufi saying. I'll read it again. Abundance can be had simply by consciously receiving what has already been given. And the little thing of today, it says, name something you frequently say you don't have enough of. And I don't really like going there. But, you know, if I really had to think about it, of course, there's times I'm thinking, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. But as the light of the world, I have everything and I give everything. And so now I've set a timer on my phone per hour to every time that timer goes up, I remember who I am. And that encompasses all these things that I don't think I have enough of, or judgments or resentments and grievances, and I let it go. Example, yesterday I was looking out my window at my neighbor while I was at my computer. I'm thinking, what's that bozo doing now? And right then my timer went off. Oh, I'm like, oh. So yeah, so I, you know, totally blessed my neighbor and blessed myself, and decided to love my neighbor and not have any grievance or resentment. So that's it.
Thank you. Okay, well, it is my total privilege to introduce to you my awesome friend and my awesome husband, Bill Free. He's going to be doing one of my favorite workbook lessons, lesson 91, Miracles Are Seen in Light. And I was just remembering, I got this really funny email that came in yesterday, and somebody was thinking, she's probably online too, but I'm not going to out you, but I love you very much. She said, I wonder how I can be as happy as Lisa can be. And then, no, she said, I wonder why I'm not as happy as Lisa is. And she said, I think it's because I'm not married to Bill Free. And I didn't even tell Bill that yet. So he's just hearing it for the first time. And that made me laugh so hard because you guys who know us personally know what we went through. Like, we went through hell and almost got divorced. And I got invited to do an interview upcoming called Remarkable Relationships. And I'm so excited to do it. It's going to be a 30-minute interview. I'm going to share on what is a remarkable relationship. And last night at dinner, I told Bill I got invited to do this interview, and I told him the topic. And he just went off on this whole big, beautiful description about what it takes to be in a remarkable relationship, how you have to go through the fire. You have to like burn away. And I was like, you need to be on that interview. Like, it was so spot on and so perfect to really see what we've gone through. And it's not just putting nice concepts on things. Like, this work is real. Like, you don't just like talk concepts from the course. You really do have to do the practices. So, Bill Furry, I love you with all my heart. I'm looking forward to today.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I have a mic? Okay, good. Good. I have this mic right here. Thank you. Well, thank you for that. Hey, before we get on to this topic and what I want to share with you guys today, did you check out the new hair thing going on with Lisa? The just beautiful hair thing that she did this last week. She's been wanting to do it for a while. And then also, did you guys check out Bonnie's hair thing going on? I always notice, I don't know, I had this thing about hair. So, yeah. The thing is, another couple of examples of how do really awesome, great relationships show up. And I'm just going to talk about, this a romantic to holy relationship and a romantic to best friends relationship. And in my mind, it's how diamonds are made. It's how butterflies, they got to go through the pressure of a cocoon, and the personal self agenda has to be like burned or squeezed or suffocated out so that this other thing can have expression. And it's not always easy, and a lot of people don't really stay the test of going through it, and we almost jumped ship a couple times. What are you going to say?
Your microphone is a little
Is it having a hard time hearing me?
yes, a little quiet.
Okay, a little quiet. I can turn it up. Is that better? Maybe I need to turn up the mic.
No, I don't know. I think you're okay.
1, 2, test 1, 2, test. How's that? Okay.
Better.
So today we're going to talk about miracles, because last week Lisa was talking about the first three miracle principles, and I got to hit on. I know what my talk is next week, because miracles are seen in the light. Miracles are known in the light. And what are miracles? I mean, miracles are not like, they could be, but they're usually not physical. And the Course isn't pointing to a physical experience when it talks about miracles. And it does require a new muscle. It does require giving attention, not to focused attention, but attention of my favorite word, awareness. It's not focused, it's not laser focused attention. It's being present and aware of noticing what you're noticing. Lisa didn't hear that voice because she was giving attention to the mind. She heard that voice because she was giving attention to the awareness of the intelligence that was telling her, where's your billfold? Where's your wallet? Look over there. When we drive our cars, how many of us are driving our cars to a destination, and when we get there, we couldn't tell you what happened on the way? What do you think's driving the car? It's awareness that's driving the car. It's totally present for you. Very, very present. And if you give your attention to your phone or a text message, you're going to fuck up. You're going to be taking your attention off of the universal intelligence that's driving the car, and you're going to be giving it to the phone or the message or the guy next to you or the object of experience that's over there, and you might have a wreck. Why? Because you took your attention off of what is really running the show for you if you allow it to. And it's just a slight little shift in perception. It's just a slight little shift in the way of seeing that allows you to have new sight. That's what the Course is talking about when it talks about vision. That's what it talks about when it talks about seeing. And I'll give you an example. You guys have probably all seen this right here. This picture. In one way you see it, and it's looks like it's one picture, and you look at it again, and it's another picture. And it's funny, the body's eyes plays tricks on us, and that's why we are not to use the body's eyes for seeing. You don't see miracles with the body's eyes. And there's 3 exercises that I'm going to give you guys just real quick. Just these are exercises you can take home with you and live streamers. Did you see that thing? You saw it. It looked like this old hag-looking thing. Poor thing. I bless your heart. It looks like might have been where Hansel and Gretel ran into her, or Goldilocks or whatever ran into her. Or you look at this beautiful young woman with a bonnet on, and you have a different view of what it is. And 3 exercises that you can use to develop the muscle of awareness, develop the muscle of Christ vision, develop the muscle of not giving your full attention to the object of experience. So I'm going to invite everyone just to look up at the wall and look at all of the pictures on the wall, but not one specific. Just look at them as a sort of a gaze. And that's what Jesus invites us to do that's what he invites us to do. If you look at the workbook lessons, the first 10 workbook lessons, he's teaching us how to see with Christ vision. He's teaching us, in fact, I think it's workbook lesson 8 talks about gazing. I think it's another workbook lesson that talks about look at these thoughts like a processional parade going by. In other words, see them, but don't give focused attention on it. Don't allow it to be more of a broad expanse. And so there's one exercise that you can do that you can just gaze. Some people would go outside in a beautiful day and gaze at the panorama view, just looking at the space that the trees and the buildings and the physical objects are in, but allow the space to be what you're seeing, and those things are sort of there in the background, in the peripheral. Another thing you can do to practice this is you can take 2 fingers in front of your face and you can move them in a circle like this and just allow everything to be brought into that. That's another way of practicing this. This would be a panoramic kind of your peripheral vision. Now everything is included in this, but nothing specific. And that's kind of like what vision does. It allows you can also use this awareness of your sensory perceptions. You can use the awareness you're aware of tinglings in the body. If you have a cut somewhere that is opened up because of the winter weather, or if you have a sensation in your body somewhere, maybe even a sensation that you would call pain, or tingling in your face, your lips. You notice those sensations. You also notice the sensation, the sensing of listening. You're not the listening device, but there's an awareness that is aware of that experience. And so you're engaging in a shift in your noticing mechanism. And this is like going to the gym and building your spiritual sight muscle. That's how vision is accomplished. It's in building that spiritual sight muscle. And if you read the workbook lessons 1 to 96, you'll notice that about the first 75 workbook lessons are teaching you to notice your thoughts, notice your experiences, notice what you think about, notice your grievances. It's inviting you to be aware of these experiences, not so that you can be guilty for it, and not so that that person you can verify, yeah, that person did that to me. It's so that you can notice what you're noticing. And the reason that I feel that this workbook lesson, Miracles Are Seen in the Light, workbook lesson 91, is so powerful is because we're gonna look at that workbook lesson in a few minutes, line by line. I'm going to show you some things that maybe you hadn't noticed before because I saw them for the first time. And if you guys were with us, or guys and gals, I want to say guys and gals for whomever out there doesn't like to be called a guy. So guys and gals, sometimes I get letters that says, can you stop using guys all the time? So it's for both of you. I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, we were at the conference center. I did this workbook lesson, Miracles Are Seen in the Light. I stood up front at the podium. Bonnie probably remembers this. And I said, you guys are looking at a drug addict. I had knee surgery on one of my knees, and I had like 4 months. I'm taking these narcotics, and I'm realizing, holy shit, I want these things every day. In fact, I started taking about 10 of them a day, these little oxycodone things, until I noticed that these things own me. And I did this workbook lesson 91, Miracles Are Seen in the Light. And it was from doing that workbook lesson and talking about these ideas that spiritual vision came forth. And I had a listening mechanism that was very, very present. And when I got home that afternoon, this noticing voice said, pour the pills in the toilet. And I'm going, oh shit, I better say something about this before I decide to hide it. So Lisa was in the room next door, and I said, I heard a voice that said, pour the pills in the toilet. I just told her for the first time that I was addicted to these pills. I don't think she knew at the level that I was addicted to them that I knew. And she said, oh boy, can I watch? So we poured those things in the toilet, and I had spent 2 days of hell I couldn't even sleep in the same bed. I had to be in a different bed because I was curled over just in this wrenching withdrawal that nothing like that I'd ever had before. But all of that to say that I was in this listening mode from this workbook lesson, and I wasn't even paying attention to what I'm going to talk about right here. So Miracles Are Seen in the Light is the first workbook lesson. Let me see if I can find make sure I don't have a note here that I wanted to cover. Miracles Are Seen in the Light is 91. And the next one is Miracles Are Seen in the Light, Light and Strength Are One. And then the third one, this is kind of like a trilogy of lessons. Miracles Are Seen in Light, and Light and Strength Are One. And then 93 is Light and Joy and Peace Abide in Me. And by the time you get to 93, the abiding in me, this isn't a maybe I need to know this topic. This is a topic that you must know if you're going to have the experience that the Course points out to you, to have spiritual vision, to have Christ vision, to live in the experience of Christ embodiment. You gotta know this. And don't worry about the mind that's hearing, you gotta know this. Just hear it and pay attention to it and see if you get a pull to practice some of the ideas that I'm mentioning today, and then ask your own internal guide. And when I say ask your own internal guide, you give instructions to that guy. It's not something that you ask for and you hope it says yes. You're the instructor to this being. Or actually to this mind that comes under the leadership of the being. You give instructions. Jesus tells us many times in the Course that to tell yourself this or tell yourself that. He is telling us that we have dominion over the experience that the mind gives action to. We have dominion over that, and it's also found in this experience of Christ's vision. It's also found in the light. When it says miracles are seen in the light, all experience is known in the light, because that is what you are. All experience is known, noticed, and seen by what you truly are as light. And when you think about light, it's not this one of these lights. It's not like the sunlight. The light is the clarity of awareness. It's the clarity of just being aware of being aware. That's where light and strength are one, because when you join with that, it's like you saw the girl with the bonnet. It's like all of a sudden you saw the girl with the bonnet. It's like your Christ vision is revealed to you by strengthening the muscle. It's just being aware and not touching the object of experience. Being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your feelings, being aware of your emotions, being aware of being aware allows you to clear the clouds away so that you will acutely notice when the voice that is the voice of truth comes through. It's like, it's like Lisa said, do you have to ask when you go to the bathroom? No, that voice becomes an intuitive noticing because you became friends with it. You work that muscle until you understand how it shows up for you. It becomes a feeling a lot of times. It's like and then all of a sudden the notice. In Miracles Are Seen in the Light, I'm going to read the first line. Miracles are seen in the light is the title. So miracles are seen in light. It is important to remember that miracles and vision necessarily go together. Miracles and vision go together. So in order for me to notice the miracles, I have to be in an open mind. I have to be in a readiness state to notice it. It says in the miracles, it says, like the first three miracles that Lisa mentioned last week are, the first miracle, principle of miracles is there's no order of difficulty in miracles. So there's no order in them. They're all the same. So everything should be included with the same equal ease of seeing it, of noticing it, without giving without giving attention to it, just notice it. This way, your tuner is turned on. If you're noticing what you're noticing, you're like tuning in the tuner of seeing Christ's vision. Christ's vision and awareness are the same thing. So when I use the word awareness, I'm talking about what Jesus is using hundreds of times in the Course with the use of the word vision. Christ's vision is, of course, Christ is a Christian word, Christian term, that I rather like Christ consciousness better because it's not focused on the man named Jesus. It's talking about Christ consciousness, which is the creation of what God's Son would be. And even God, even the word God, is just a religious name for everything that is, the totality of all that is. God is just, we use the word God because and it's a great word to use, but it's absolutely not necessary. Light is the same thing as God. Love is the same thing as God. So you don't, when you use God, God almost has a male connotation. God's not a he. God is God. God is God. It's like the Course says God is, and the isness is closer to what God is than the word God. And so in these miracle principles, there's 50 of them. But the second miracle principle that Lisa talked about last week, miracles in themselves do not matter. So the miracle doesn't really matter. It brings you to the experience of being aware of the experience, and the miracle is whatever is coming in, is in harmony with divine flow. That's the miracle. And there's so many uses for the miracles. It says miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. The real miracle is the love that inspires them. So if you take that one sentence, the love that inspires them, awareness is the love that inspires them. So if you are having a difficult situation in your life, or you're having something where there's a decision that needs to be made, or just thoughts that you don't really like very much, judgment that you don't really want to hold on to, just stay in the awareness of those experiences, and you are assuming, you're taking on, you're acknowledging the light, the love, the presence that you are. And by definition, darkness, which would be any of these objects of experience that would call you to pay attention to it instead of being present in the love that you are, by definition, the light that you are will dispel the darkness. So it's in your best interest to develop the muscle of sight. Develop the muscle of noticing what you're noticing. You're doing it anyway. Who do you think's driving the car? Like I said, I can't tell. When I first thought of that, I would get to a destination 30 miles away. I go, holy cow. I don't even, left turn, right turn, straight, this miles, that mile. And all of a sudden you get there and you go, wow, I don't even remember coming here. And at first it's like, holy cow, who was driving? Well, that's okay. That one that's driving was the one that needs to be driving, not the mind that's going to be paying attention to the objects of experience and the thoughts that are in the head that are going this way, that are looking like a squirrel cage. So these other miracles that I wanted to point out, miracles are the absence of the body, is miracle principle number 17. So it's miracles are the absence of objective experience. So if there's an object, a thought, a feeling, an emotion, something in time and space involved, then then it's not a miracle, but the miracle, the activating agent of being the light that's aware of the situation, that's where the miracle is accomplished, is being the light that sees the miracle. A miracle reawakens, this is miracle principle 21. A miracle reawakens the awareness that the spirit and not the body is the altar of truth. Isn't that a great line in the Course? A miracle reawakens the awareness that the spirit and not the body is the altar of truth. This is the recognition that leads to the healing power of the miracle. And then miracles are natural expressions of total forgiveness. Through miracles, you affirm your acceptance of God's forgiveness by extending it to others. Now, miracles are so, they just do everything. It's like just be aware, pause, and acknowledge God's presence, and whatever is going on in your mind, whatever is going on in the experience of the person, is being enveloped by the presence of I am, by the presence of God presence. So you're enveloping that with the love of truth, with the love of God. You're enveloping whatever that is. When I got a prayer notice yesterday to pray for someone, and my new muscle is pause and envelop that request. And if a person's name is with it, or a person's an image of a face, any of those things, I don't think about the event. I just bring it in to the awareness of love's presence. And you know what's happening? A miracle. A miracle is occurring, and the Course tells us that it is affecting the being, and it is affecting me, and could be affecting thousands of other beings just by my taking the pause of just being present and aware with it. Miracles are seen in the light. They're known in the light, and it's not like a development of our being raised in time and space as bodies. It's something that we learn, we understand it, we accept it, and then we be it. And then that is what our whole theme for Living in Purpose is this year: the embodiment of Christ. The embodiment of Christ consciousness. Then what happens is you're just like, you're not affected by time and space stuff anymore. You're not like blown over by what's happening in Washington or across to Europe or other countries, or even travesties. You know what to do when a baby is stillborn. You know what to do when a tragedy happens to a small child, or it seems like, it's total innocence. You know what to do. It's not to grieve the body. It's to be present in Christ consciousness and be the most effective Christ ambassador that you can. You will make amazing changes happen in the consciousness of that being, the whoever was affected by it. You'll be the most effective by just pausing and remembering the truth, by enveloping that thought, that experience, that whatever was going on, enveloping it with your own holiness, enveloping with the light that you are. The rest of this, I think there was one more miracle that I wanted to Okay, the miracle number 24. Miracles are part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, which when completed is the atonement. This process works all the time and in all dimensions of time. And so it's working in what would be other dimensions of time. You might call it other lifetimes. It's snipping out time where events no longer need to happen because of what you did. You paused. And that's what a holy instant is also. That holy instant of it's knowing the self as light, and there's no thoughts in there because your awareness is aware of thoughts. So it came prior to experience. And that prior to is what you always know that you are. If you don't look in the mirror, you can't tell you don't know how old you are. If you don't have a calendar or a date or driver's license, and if you're not using some kind of a body appearance or symptom, you can't tell what your age is. No one in here can. Why? Because we're not aged. What we are is eternal. What we are is this being of light that is pure presence, pure consciousness. And when you understand that, then things can come at you in time and space. Things can happen, and you have a different way of your experience is different. Your experience is not so debilitating. It takes time. You have to work the muscle. So if you're having an experience and you're saying to yourself, "I'm not there yet," that's the mind. Just notice it. Just notice the mind, because the mind wants to hold your hand all the way to hell and call it heaven. That's really so. That was just one sentence in Miracles Are Seen in the Light. Right? That's just one sentence. It says that miracles and vision necessarily go together. This needs repeating and frequent repeating. These two go together. Miracles go with you pausing and just being aware of the experience. That's where the power of presence is. That's where the power of the miracle is, no matter what it is, and all miracles are the same. So whatever is going on for you or a friend, just be present and aware with it. And don't bring a story into it. Just allow the presence of your I am to pervade and encapsulate, totally envelop whatever is going on. And you will find such great power there. The miracle is always there. This is great. Listen to this. It's kind of a tricky sentence. Its presence is not caused by your vision. Its absence is not the result of your failure to see. It is only your awareness of the miracle that is affected. You will see in the light. You will not see in the dark. So if I'm giving attention, like you can see this glass on the table here, and you can focus on the glass, or you can just see the whole table and all the objects that are on the glass, that are on the table, and just don't give any attention to any of it. That, if you look at the objects that are on this wall, just look at the space around the objects and look at it sort of like a gazing experience, and develop that noticing what you're noticing habit. Because when you're stepping into that is what the Bible would call, the Course would call, and Eastern traditions would call looking within. Looking within is merely noticing what you're noticing. Looking within is being aware of your experience. It's being aware of sensations and experience. Looking within is quietly resting in this place of presence. Because there, right there, you're touching God, man. You're touching God. God's right there and you're right there. There's no place where God is not and where you're there and God isn't. There's no place where you are not touching. It's like God is the ocean and you're in the middle of it as a current in the ocean. There's no place where God is not when you do that. So, to you then, light is crucial. While you remain in darkness, the miracle remains unseen. So I can't see it if my attention is on the experience. If my attention is on the travesty, if my attention is on, oh my God, then I've placed myself in darkness and I can't see to help anybody. I can't put the oxygen mask is being aware of being aware. And from there, you know exactly what to say. Your guide shows up right there because it's intuitive. And it may show up in a voice, and it's probably going to be yours. And it becomes an intimate, palpable experience of knowing what you're knowing. Because you develop such a connection, such a relationship with the light that you are, that you know it. You absolutely know it in certainty. And that is the first sign of moving from perception as a person, as a body. That's the first sign of moving from perception to knowledge. From perception to knowing. Knowing is nothing more than knowing of your experience. Being aware of being aware. That's knowledge. It's not, oh, I know calculations, I know physics, I know all these things. It's the experience of knowing thyself as your identity in God, as God presence. You have a question? Yeah, let me give you a mic.
I just want to apply what you're teaching, what you're talking about. So if my boss comes to me and says, I want you to write the employee handbook, and I don't care about the employee handbook, I don't know how to do it, can this process that you've just so articulately described be applied in a situation like this or other goals or jobs that we have, responsibilities that we have in this lifetime?
All of them. This situation that you describe. Thank you. This situation that you describe, the awareness of your feelings when that was asked of you, if that was a true story, your awareness of your what, being shocked, appalled, whatever. If you don't join the event with your personhood, but if you stay back in the awareness of how that makes you feel, and just notice the thoughts that occur, notice that the story that attaches itself to that request or that feeling or whatever, you stay back like the sky watches the clouds go by. And you just become aware of all of those little incidental stories and situations that have attached itself to that request. Don't make a decision from there, from a place that is the event itself. And this is why wisdom would tell you, wisdom would tell you to say, I'm honored that you would ask that of me. That's just a high responsibility. And I would like to get back to you on that. Because I just really want to consider all of the parts and and about it. Just so let me sit with this for a day or two, and then everything that comes up, the nightmares, the criticism, the judgment, the denial, the ideas that you're not capable, anything that's related to that, allow it to be seen from the light. Allow it to be seen and don't touch it. Don't give it any fuel. And then all of a sudden, like when you need to, all of a sudden you'll wake up in the morning. Usually my inspirations come in the morning. I know, bam, yeah, I know exactly what to do. And until you start to develop a real sense of this, until there's no time in the communication anymore, it just all of a sudden you know what to do immediately. But then all of a sudden you know exactly what to do. No, I can't do that. Or yeah, I'm getting a pull to do that. And you'll be empowered to say it with certainty. Nothing could take it away from you. If you wanted, you would say, wow, I don't know, I can't believe it, but I'm supposed to do that. And that's what awareness will give you in any situation. Nancy?
I just thought of something related to this, and it's Freedom had said it in one of her podcasts about if it's not a 10.
Who?
Freedom.
Okay.
Kimberly.
Yep.
Cartwright. That if it's not a 10, then she's not. It's not her thing. It's not her. And maybe I'm not quoting her correctly, but it really struck me that if you're not feeling it's a 10, it's probably not something that you want to enter into.
Right.
And I don't know if she could expound on that for sure, but I mean, I know about stepping back too, but sometimes we have the knowing that it's not.
My interpretation of that, what that statement that Freedom made, is that a 10 has certainty attached to it that doesn't have doubt. There's no other option. There's no parachute. It has the certainty of, I'm doing it. So that would be a 10 in my book.
I want to speak on that idea too, because I like that. And one of the things for me is that sometimes the 10 is where I'm comfortable in this space. And I feel that life often wants to get you out of that comfort zone. And so for me, sometimes it feels like a 1, but I'm so present in the awareness of, that's why I love the Bible, because there's so many guys that were being called to do stuff that they didn't know how to do, they didn't want to do. But when you really say, my life belongs to God and I'm here willing, then you recognize that you have the strength and the power to do it. And then it will become a 10 in the sense, but sometimes I don't just go like, oh, I want to do that. So sometimes if I don't want to do it, that is when I have to do it. I don't know. Like I can't speak more on that, but that's where it's like, you're always so present. You're like, all right, I'm being called to do, like, that's a great employee manual thing. It's going to stretch you. But maybe it's not yours to do. I loved your response. That was perfect, because it's like, just step back and see the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions and don't touch it.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
I want to answer that first. The 8, 9, 10, anything that's less than 10 in my interpretation of that is what goes into it's the passing cloud. And when the 10 shows up, it's the certainty of presence. It's the certainty of knowing, where all obstacles. But Lisa's exactly right. It's in that resistance. Maybe you are called to do that thing, and the resistance is getting in the way. And I also like the stories of those Bible figures. A lot of those guys, they said, "I'm doing it." Well, they said, "I'm doing it." I think because they were connected with Source so fully that they just couldn't say no. They had to say yes. But and I feel that's also our strength here too. This doesn't happen later. This happens by developing this muscle. Linda?
Yeah, just to bring another perspective, one of my favorite books ever, as most of you know, is The Surrender Experiment with Michael Singer. I think it was 40 years that he surrendered his life to divine perfection that is here for all of us. And he decided that whenever something, and he really didn't want to do anything but sit in the quiet. And literally life would come knocking at his door. And he decided that he was going to say yes to anything. He wasn't going to say no because of his own personal preference. Like, for example, he came home and somebody was building a house on his property without his permission. And, normally we'd go into this huge rage, but he said, if I wanted a house on my property, if I wanted a neighbor, this would be a good thing. So he recognized his own personal preference, his own separated self-preference was getting in the way of divine perfection. So he went along with it for everything that happened. People would call and say, I want you to come back to the college and teach. It's the last thing he wanted to do. He thought he was done teaching, but they called and he was just like, oh no, I've got to do this. So we went back. And if you've ever read the book, the things that happened throughout his life, without his interference, weren't just incredible for him, but for all of humanity. He changed everything for all of us. Everyone sitting here was actually affected by where life brought him.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put that out there too.
Thank you. That's a great example. That's a great book, The Surrender Experiment. When we read that the first time, oh my God, I could not believe what he surrendered to. Incredible. And what happened to humanity, like you said, he changed the world. He changed everything in the world.
And that's the thing, it's not just about us. When we're asked to do something like write an employee manual or whatever, sorry. I just want to say, no, that's just one of the important
No, it's not. No.
Thanks. It's so funny. I'm taking this new course about being comfortable on camera. Now you're not going to get rid of me. So anyway, I just want to say that you have to always remember it is not just about us. None of it is. And when we think it is, we're off course. So that's all.
Thank you.
And another thing.
Give me that mic back. Good. To you, then, light is crucial. While you remain in darkness, the miracle remains unseen. Thus, you are convinced that it is not there. This follows from the premises from which the darkness comes. Denial of light leads to failure to perceive it. Most of us live our lives that way up until the state of awakening and bringing in these ideas. How can this, it says, to be told that what you do not see is there sounds like insanity. It is very difficult.
The microphone and the thing.
Okay, you're back.
You know how that does?
Yeah. Sorry, live streamers. I think it's just I've done it with my finger on the mouse, and I've scrolled to going offline. So sorry, live streamers, we're back. And I'll carry on with this. I wanted to give everyone a chance to, I have some little handout papers here, and everyone's going to need a pen. And I'm just going to invite you to participate in this exercise. It says, you do not doubt that the body's eyes can see. You do not doubt the images they show you are reality. Your faith lies in darkness, not in light. So, live streamers, I'm just going to ask everyone to write down 1 or 2 words on this exercise. It's not a big deal. You can type the word in on the chat board to participate with us. This is just for you. Your faith lies in darkness, not in the light. How can this be reversed? I haven't told you yet. For you, it is impossible, but you are not alone in this. And when it says you are not alone in this, your awareness is always present. I proved that to you by the driving example. Your awareness is always present. That is the light that you are. Your efforts, however little they may be, have strong support. Did you but realize how great this strength, your doubts would vanish. Today, we will devote ourselves to the attempt to let you feel this strength. When you have felt the strength in you, which makes all miracles within your easy reach, you will not doubt. The miracles your sense of weakness hides will leap into awareness as you feel the strength in you. Sounds good, right? I like that sentence. 3 times today, set aside about 10 minutes for a quiet time in which you try to leave your weakness behind. This is accomplished very simply as you instruct yourself. That's what I was talking about. You instruct yourself that you are not a body. You can just give mental assent to that, mental instructions. I am not a body. Faith goes to what you want, and you instruct your mind accordingly. This is the dominion that I was talking about. Your will remains your teacher, and your will has all the strength it needs to do whatever it desires. You can escape the body if you choose. You can experience the strength in you. Begin the longer practice periods with this statement of true cause and effect relationships. Miracles are seen in light. Just own that. Just own that for a moment. Miracles are seen in light. Miracles are seen in awareness. Am I aware? Miracles are seen in light. The body's eyes do not perceive the light, but I am not a body. What am I? What am I? That's the thing I want you to write down on the piece of paper. What am I? That's the thing I want you guys to write down. Type it in the chat board. What am I? I'll keep reading while you write that. The question with which this statement ends is needed for our exercises today. What you think you are is a belief to be undone, but what you really are must be revealed to you. So it's either a belief that you're a body, or it's something that's being revealed to you, and you know the difference. The belief you are a body calls for correction, being a mistake. The truth of what you are calls on the strength in you to bring to your awareness what the mistake concealed. If you are not a body, what are you? You need to be aware of what the Holy Spirit uses to replace the image of a body in your mind. When I use the name the Holy Spirit, that's also awareness. That's also aware presence. You need to feel something to put your faith in as you lift it from the body. You need a real experience of something else, something more solid, more sure, more worthy of your faith, and really there. This is the third time he's asked the same question. If you are not a body, what are you? Ask this in honesty, and then devote several minutes to allowing your mistaken thoughts about your attributes to be corrected and their opposites to take their place. Say, for example, I am not helpless, but all powerful. Now, the last three statements, the tail end of these affirmations are the truth. The front end is what I made up. I am not helpless, but all powerful. I am not limited, but unlimited. I am not doubtful, but certain. I am not an illusion, but a reality. I do not see in darkness, but in light. I'm going to end the exercise on that. And I'm going to ask everyone just to sit quiet. We're just going to sit for about a minute and just be in quiet presence, being aware, just being aware of the questions that were raised. And if you have any thoughts or feelings, emotions, if you want to get in touch with the answer, what am I? If your eyes are closed, please slowly open your eyes and allow this awareness, this aware presence that's just gazing at the objects of experience that your body's eyes are showing you. Just allow this gazing, this awareness to include everything. Everything is included. My holiness envelops everything I see. I am very holy. Amen. Thank you all for letting me share. Thank you, live streamers. We're going to all rise and join hands and close with a prayer. Thank you all. Thank you, live streamers, love streamers. Love you all. Thank you for joining us today. Miracles are seen in the light. You are the light of the world. Okay.
Andy's in the house.
Andy's in the house.
Over here.
Get up here, Andy. Who wants to pray? Who wants to pray? Look at his face. This is a first time guest. We're not going to call.
Oh, good. Thank
What?
you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we thank you for joining us here. And before we do our closing prayer, we just want to thank you for your generosity in helping us to pay for this space and for the live streamers. For those of you online, there's a donate button. And any amount you can give truly does help us. Like, it really helps us to pay Unity on the River, helps us to keep the message going. And so we thank you so much. And a prayer, somebody new in the house.
No, we're not going to give it to her.
Andy want it? Andy want it?
No. Okay, so just allow ourselves, let's just come into the presence of our I am. What was on your card today? Come into the experience of being aware, right here. No place to go. This is a supreme self. This is your God self. This is also the memory of God. Our oneness. Our presence. This is the invisible realm of our true nature, eternal experience, what we are never dies. It's always this right here, this aware presence of Christ consciousness. May we be open to remembering. May we be open to understanding. May we be open to knowing thyself. We invite it in. We invite the light to reveal itself. We are ready. And for this, we all say amen and thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone.